let's sit down and talk about the NPFL and predicting 2025. That's what we're going to talk about now. If you're new to the channel, my name is Steve Chapman. I do everything on here. I edit, I talk to anglers, I do everything I can to keep you updated on the news that is going on in the industry, but also coming up with topics that I think are interesting. So if you like this kind of content, click that like and subscribe button, and welcome to the team. I believe the NPFL is poised to have a significant increase in viewership and awareness in 2025. We're not really sure on a roster yet of who's coming and who's going, but they have a significant amount of bigger named anglers joining the NPFL because in 2025 they have decided to prohibit forward-facing sonar. We can only talk about the anglers who have physically announced that they're joining the NPFL in 2025. And those anglers are, some of them have already fished, but some of them are new. Anglers like John Cox and Gerald Swindle, Matt Herron. James Watson will be joining NPFL for 2025. Andrew Upshaw, Patrick Walters. I'm going to assume Drew Cook and Kyle Welcher because they did so amazing in Angler of the Year this year. Zach Burge, Joseph Webster, Buddy Gross, Trent Palmer, Greg Hackney, and many others are going to bring their names, their good attitudes, and bring themselves over to the NPFL. And it's a great opportunity for some of these bigger names to add some extra income in and during a time where, quite honestly, this is a horrible time for sponsorships. So this allows anglers to come in and possibly make some extra cash. And one thing we know for sure is that they will have a new platform in 2025, which will allow people to enjoy their format and their bass fishing tournaments at hopefully a better level or higher level. I would say, unfortunately, there's not a lot of testing time between now and when their first tournament is. And if they hire the right company and view what they're doing consistently, hopefully there won't be many bugs when they start their first tournament. And in 2025, where they go is the biggest thing that's going to happen. I think as they go to stage 1, which is at Santee Cooper, this is a great place for the anglers who weren't always dominant with forward-facing sonar, were old-fashioned, old-school anglers, to make a good push at starting off on a good foot. When you look at Drew Cook and John Cox and Kyle Welcher have all done really well. You have Greg Hackney, who finished 74th in one tournament, Patrick Waltzer 75th, Gerald Swindle 81st, Matt Herron 83rd, Buddy Gross at 91st, John Sokup. There's a good chance that some of these anglers that were in the elites and the opens and so forth make a big push at their first tournament on Santee Cooper. There's a lot of trees and punching and flipping. And if you look at it outside of the box and know who's good at what kind of fishing, I can tell you John Cox is probably going to do real well. Drew Cook, I think, is going to do great. But I think the surprise person in that whole group might be, and I'm not shocked to say this, is James Watson. Because James, this is the type of fishing James likes to do. James did really good on the BPT when he was fishing stumps and trees and that kind of stuff. And I think James will have a good shot at being one of the favorites at that body of water. Stage 2, they're at Lake Norman. Todd Go has been with the league for several years. He finished 25th in an open in 2021. Andrew Upshaw, Patrick Walters, and Tim Fredericks all fished opens there too. Having a little bit of knowledge of the way the lake fishes is crucial to those anglers. And that's where some of the guys that have fished the elites and the opens and the BPT and the invitationals have a little bit of a leg up on a lot of the other anglers. And it isn't a bad thing, but knowing the pond, how it fishes, where they should go, really helps anglers. But look for Todd Goad and Andrew Upshaw in that second tournament. Stage 3 is at Lake Eufaula. This is another place where I think you're going to see some really amazing anglers. Drew Cook, Patrick Walters, Tim Goad, Tim Frederick, and Luis Fernandez is going to do really, really amazing. These are anglers that have fished there and have done well there. So having that past knowledge really helps them moving into this. But look for Cook and Walters to be one of the two probably favorites at Eufaula. Stage 4 is at Douglas Lake. Last time any of the guys fished there was in the 2021 Open. And this was more where forward-facing sonar was pretty dominant. Most of the elite anglers that are moving over to the NPFL or have fished in NPFL did not do well in that 2021 Opens. This is going to be a tough place for anglers to fish. It's normally tough, but without forward-facing sonar, this could be a really tough tournament. However, I do think this is going to be a turning point on who's going to win Angler of the Year. One good tournament could move you up drastically, and at Eufaula, that's what's probably going to happen. A good finish here is going to separate the pros from the Joes. So look at Eufaula as the turning point on who's going to finish well for the whole year. Stage 5 on the St. Lawrence River is another place where forward-facing sonar has been dominant for the last few years. So having knowledge on where you fished and seen fish and caught fish is going to be crucial. Patrick Walters should be the favorite here. Patrick Walters is phenomenal on the St. Lawrence River. Now, he's been phenomenal with forward-facing sonar, but if he has those waypoints knocked in or put in, he might be able to find the same schools of fish. And Patrick Walters is deadly. I think you'll see a good showing from John Cox and Kyle Welcher and Gerald Swindle. Buddy Gross, Matt Heron, and Greg Hackney will probably do pretty well too. But this is going to be another place where without forward-facing sonar, I think it's going to be a little bit of a struggle for a lot of anglers. Last but not least, the 6th tournament, stage 6, is on Logan Martin. Now, I think this is a middle-of-the-road place. I think that there's been great anglers that use forward-facing sonar, but I also think that the anglers who haven't used it have done pretty well. I think you'll see Andrew Upshaw and Stephanie Hemphill-Pellerin do fairly decent. Tim Frederick and several other anglers just really do great here. This is another place where I think there's a lot of scopers that have done well, but not having forward-facing sonar will change the dynamic of who's fishing where and how they're catching them. But Logan Martin's going to be another tournament, a grind tournament, I think. I think the NPFL has a good 2025 schedule, but there's a few places where the anglers who have used forward-facing sonar in the past probably have a little bit of an advantage against the other ones. I think a couple of the places, non-forward-facing sonar and forward-facing sonar, anglers will come into play because they have that advantage of knowing the fishery better. But if they're not on them, they're really in trouble. But here's my prediction for Angler of the Year. I think you have to look at Drew Cook. I think you need to look at Todd Goad and John Cox. But my favorite is Luis Fernandez. And why? I can tell you firsthand, in 2024, he finished 4th, and he had not one fish caught on a minnow. He fishes the old-fashioned way, and the setup for 2024 fits everything that Lewis does. In the last 2 years, Lewis has finished 8th in Angler of the Year and 4th, and I think this year, 2025, is Lewis's year. I don't think you can go wrong with Lewis this year. So tell me in the comments below what you think. Are you watching NPFL? Are you excited about what they're doing? Comment below and tell me what you think. Thanks for everybody for hitting that like and subscribe button. Let me say thank you to the members and the subscribers and all the people who are interactive on this channel. But if you're not a subscriber, you should be. Click that subscribe button and become part of the team. Remember, take a kid fishing, tight lines, cheers, and get your fish on.